Well, it's 7:01 p.m. Eastern Time, and you know what that means? You're right here with Paranormally Blondes. And how you doing? How you feeling?
It's a little rough,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still recovering from the big accident. Uh, you can't make me laugh. Like I can laugh. Of course, I get the. For those watching that don't know, I was attacked Monday, last Monday by a sheet of
Uh-huh.
ice and a curb.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Came out of nowhere. Out
what?
of it came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere. I wasn't looking and snuck up on me, and next thing you know, I landed like
Oh,
that.
mm,
Yeah, yeah. So it was hurt. I was hurt pretty badly.
yeah.
And it's been so then, because when your ribs are cracked and broken, you compensate, you overcompensate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not used to overcompensating because I'm usually good at everything.
Uh-huh.
So mine was
You
trying
see
to,
Sean down there just like this.
yeah, it's like he looks like a fucking security guard. Actually, I feel like I'm watching like a hospital security camera. Um, so I was trying to plug my phone in at a very awkward angle, and then I tossed, my back decided it was done with me.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I'm in a mess, and then woke up this morning to um, find out that my
Mm-hmm.
mom fell out of her bed last night or early this morning, broke her friggin' hip. Of course, my mom didn't have her phone near her, so she had to crawl for God knows how long to get to her phone to call for emergency help. They busted the door down, brought her to the hospital, and that's where she is right now. Which is,
Poor Paulette. Well,
yeah.
we're gonna.
So, she doesn't live close, but surgery is happening, and there's a lot going on. So, but it is hard to breathe and keep my voice. And Damien's right: sneezing, coughing, laughing,
Yeah.
hiccups, all the worst things that can happen to you with busted up ribs. Um, but yeah, poor me, poor Rob. That's
We should have a segment like
poor Rob.
poor Rob, poor
That's why
Rob.
I'm drinking vibes. I'm trying to get a
Yeah.
little bit of a buzz on,
Okay.
so that I don't feel.
You don't want to laugh, and we have two of the best guests for having just a great
It's gonna
chat
be a
and
nutty
some
show.
laughs. It's going to be a great show. And we haven't been on for the couple weeks. We're so busy, and sometimes Paranormally Blonde just takes a back seat. It just happens sometimes,
That's it.
because we've got a lot going on between our home opener starting this coming weekend with Redmond's Hall in Mount Holly, New Jersey. Of course, working as well with Candy closely on the Rock Island Roadhouse Esoteric Expo, which is October 4th. And of course, you've seen the main paranormal and horror con that is in Augustus, Maine, and that's September 6th and 7th. That's coming up too. So there's been a lot of things on our plate, on our mind, that we've been working on. Um, but I
You're
want to
fr-
go real quick and what? I'm
my
frozen.
mom
Tell me
just
when I'm not.
you're frozen, but my mom just sent me a
Am I
text.
I'm frozen.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're catching up now. She said
Okay.
these rat bastards still haven't taken me. I love my mom.
Well, I'm glad she still has her wits
Yeah,
about
she
her.
still has her wits.
She's sassy.
But she's
Paulette
not.
is
I thought
sassy.
she was already in surgery, but they told her several hours ago. Anyway, yeah, that's the latest. For those watching, the rat bastards have not taken her in yet.
They have not yet. I see where you get it from. Also, tonight, do not forget, following Paranormally Blonde at 9 p.m., you can catch the fellas of Compass of Curiosities with Russ Stiver and Ian Murphy. And tonight, their guest is Candy Slater, event organizer for the Rock Island Roadhouse Esoteric Expo. So you catch that show tonight. Those two guys are quite funny together. And then at 11:05, Ghost Box Radio with Greg Bakken. I'm going to be his guest tonight, and I get to talk about women in paranormal. So if you're looking for, this is going to be a real conversation. Greg and I sort of touched base on this a little bit. I posted in my post. This is not about why women aren't flooding the network. It's not what it's about. We're going to talk about women in the paranormal, the successes, the issues, the pressures. We're gonna have a great chat about it. So I'm excited about that. So there's
I
your
know. How are you going to stay awake? That's my.
well, that's a good. I know everybody actually has said that. It's 11:05. I pretty much after Paranormally Blonde, I eat a snack or a second dinner, and then I kind of hunker down for the night.
This is a true story.
This is a true
There are
story.
no lies being told at the moment.
There is not. But before we bring on our two amazing guests, which is Paranormal Nut, of course, you know them, Sean Geekus and Jimmy McCarney, two amazing guys. They're going to have two shows now on the Paranormal Podcast. They have their live show, which is the after show, and they get to talk about when they premiere their content creation on YouTube, and then they talk about it right there with all of you on Get Haunted. And then their second show, so that's every other week, and then to fill in those weeks that they're not on live, they're going to be doing sort of a replay. They're going to be putting up some of their older content to start moving it over to Facebook, and I think it's going to be a great thing because they've got great stuff and they're really good guys. They're like the good guys of paranormal. That's kind of how I view them. They're like the good guys, right? They are hard to find. They're funny and
say hi to these weirdos then.
Hi, Sandy.
Oh, we've got Sandy. We've got the Stace.
There he is.
Got the Andy.
Big Daddy Andy in the house.
We got the Marcus Bernicus.
There's Mark. Hey, Mark. It's nice to see his Facebook page filling up with all sorts of investigations. And yeah, he really is.
It's about time he got moving.
He did. There's Danny Marie. We got Candy here with us tonight.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I'm catching up. I'm trying.
You are? Yeah, I'm looking too. They're having a conversation here.
Yeah.
Stephen Kamat's digging deeper, and he's starting a whole new project as well.
I just saw.
Yeah, he's. I think how he described it was he's writing a book, but he's writing it in real time on social media, which I really dig.
Voice of America. I might have that wrong.
Yeah, it's really cool. Icy Spirits is here.
Icy Spirits.
Don't miss Lori. You might have missed Miss Lori.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
I do that every time. Thank you.
There's Miss Lori. I see you.
Okay. Are we caught up now?
Drunken. Okay, this is so crazy to see him at night. I feel like we only see him during the day.
Yeah. Makes me wonder.
It makes you wonder.
I don't know.
Damien. Hey, Damien. How are you doing? We hope you are fine. Hello. There's Beth Brown Lee. Hello to you. And there's Miss Kaylee. All right. So there is everybody that we see. If we don't see your name on the side, hello and welcome. We're going to bring up our guests tonight, Mr. Jimmy and Mr. Sean Geekus. I think they're typing tweet. They're like messaging each other.
They're texting. They're messaging.
No, I'm just kidding. I was sharing everything.
There you go. Everybody, this is Paranormal Nut right here with us. Hey. Sean and Jim. Do you like to go like by Jimmy? See here, you say Jim. Now you're Jim.
You can call me anything. Just don't call me late.
Don't call him late.
Get out of here. No, it's like, specifically Big Jim. No.
Big
Jim, Jimbo Slice, whatever.
Okay, we got that. All
Big
right.
Jim.
Big Jim right here. So you guys know them. You love them. If you don't know them, go follow their page. As you see, it is scrolling on the bottom there for YouTube. Go subscribe right now to the Paranormal Nut podcast. You're going to want to check out their content creation because it's pretty freaking good. Hello to the spectral researchers, spirit talkers. Hey, how are you? They love you guys. Look at that. They're like, hey, we love those guys.
We love spectral researchers. They come into like almost, well, I'm going to say every video that we release on like a premiere. They're always commenting. They're always talking to us.
They're good people.
Yeah. That is so important, right? Like, I don't think people understand just how important those comments and back and forths and like it is what probably has to keep you guys moving forward, right?
Oh yeah, building the community. We love we love making a product. Like we go out, investigate, and we love giving it to the people and getting the reactions if it's positive or negative.
Yeah,
we love the positives more, obviously. But.
It's sort of like nut fuel.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Get ready for a preponderance of nut jokes tonight, folks.
It's all that protein and whatnot.
There's protein.
We're gonna be a little nutty tonight, aren't we?
Jeez, getting so soon.
Silly gooses.
They are silly gooses.
Is it? I don't know what it is. Gooses?
They're silly gooses.
Gooses.
And
goose.
yeah, SRST, same. It's because you do have great videos. I've seen your work. Hey, Carmen.
Oh no, Carmen, that's not fun.
Yeah, look, last night I had no power either. Everybody, that's more important than people not having power tonight.
Good God.
Just joking. Yeah, it looks like PA got the blackout last night, and Jersey now is getting it. Carmen, I think you're in Jersey. Jersey's got it tonight. I know Castro's checked into a hotel. But it was 52 degrees when I woke up in this place today.
Oh,
we were fortunate enough in my area. We got hit by the winds, but where I live, like Lancaster, we didn't really lose any power in our area.
Oh man, like here it's fragile for whatever reason. A little bit of wind, a little bit of snow, and this part of Pennsylvania just falls apart. I'm like, what the hell kind of infrastructure do we have in this country? It pisses me off, honestly.
Kentucky, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take the show over. Go ahead, let's get nutty.
It's all good.
Let's get nutty in here.
Yeah, let's get to talking to these boys, because honestly, I didn't know who Paranormal Nut was, and the next thing you know, you guys got into our orbit, and you were wanting to bring your shows on, and you guys came to some events, and just so you know, you are so highly spoken of. Just so you know, when you come to the Get Haunted events, they're really so much kindness is spoken about you guys. And I actually added to that because you guys really are about work. Like, you're about the work. You're about getting in there, working, sharing the work, and sharing your talents, giving back, right? Getting something, giving back. Like, you guys just get it. And I think that was something, Rob, you and I kind of were like, these kids just get it.
We do call you kids.
Yeah.
I see Sean dying inside a little bit. I'm fine with it.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When I wake up with back and knee pain, I don't feel like a kid, but I guess feel free to keep calling me again.
Wait till you're 54 and smacking your ribs on a curb.
Oh gosh.
So let's talk about this, because I don't know that I know your origin story. And I don't love this question. Like, what got you into it? That's not my favorite question at all. But I am curious, was content creation something you wanted to do, or was paranormal something you were interested in, and then content creation was like a way for you to express it?
Yeah. So that's a great question. There's a bunch of ways I can answer this. So I guess to kind of start my paranormal journey, I was just a history nerd. So I would go to museums. I would go to, old cool buildings in my area. Upstate New York, there's a lot of old things. Mm-hmm. And then one of my friends, mom is a psychic medium, and she would go around, and eventually she took us on hunts and stuff. So not to give the whole spiel, because I've said it before, and to get more at the heart of your question, is the reason I do this is the content creation was always a second part of it. And I've always been, associated with making videos and stuff like that, kind of on the side with my friends. And like, I grew up with around a lot of talented people with cameras and editing and music and stuff like that. So I always found myself orchestrating that. So I ended up very easily in a quote unquote producer role, if you will.
Okay.
So I've done stuff before. I did like Haunted Upstate, and that was more my friend's thing, and I helped him put it together. But it really came down to it. I like going and investigating. And,
Okay.
the content creation is just another step of that lets me enjoy that night longer with more people, right? Because, with unfortunately, I can't go ghost hunting with 100 people, but I can go ghost hunting with Jim and Matt or Steve, and we all go, and then we can make a cool video and we share it with you guys, and then we can all talk about it. So that's kind of. I've always had a semi-interest in content creation, and I don't by any means hate it, but definitely my first love is paranormal, and I'm not afraid to, learn how to edit things to share that with the world, I guess.
I love that. And Jimmy, I don't know if Jim is over there. Like, I feel like he's reading a book.
Oh, no.
He's heard my story.
I'm ready to tone it or zoom in. Come in. Crash in, should I say.
Oh, oh. So now you guys, so how long have you guys known each other? And then I want to get to Jim and find out how he sort of plays into this. But have you guys been long time friends?
Probably too long. No.
Yeah, we met at our last job in Jersey.
Oh, so what was that, 2007, 16, 17?
No, 17, because I got out of the Navy 2017, and that was the first job right out. And that's when I met you. You started before I did, and then I came in, like, I think it was 2 months after you.
No, well, yeah, you came in 2 months after me. I got out of the Navy in 2016, and then I had another job. Got in that job, got fired from that job, and got another job within that span. But, yeah, so... we both.
Did you ever hear trauma bonding?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what that. That
happens on social media, I think.
Yeah. So we've known each other since 2017. We didn't really even know each other. Like, enjoyed the paranormal for the longest time. Like, I kind of had my thing back up in New York with my friends that travel back up and do that, like with the Haunted Upstate stuff. And then one day, well, before we get there. So I start my own channel back in like 2017, 18, and at the time I know Jim, but like I'm keeping everything like shelved to myself. Kind of make a little small channel, Paranormal Nut. No one watches it. A few of my friends watch it. No big deal. I do it for a few months and I stop it. Then life goes on. Everything happens. Me and Jim go our separate ways. Then I get a phone call. I was this 22, 23, Jim, somewhere around there.
Yeah, well, we still
end of 23, right?
Together the whole time, but
yeah, we would hang out, we would get together. But I get a phone call at one point. He goes, "Oh man, we should start a podcast." And
I wasn't on anything when I did it.
Oh, completely sober. This conversation happened. We could have signed legal documents when this conversation was happening. But, as a late 20-year-old man, when your friend asks you if you start a podcast, the only acceptable answer is, of course. So, and then I go, well, I actually had this little project that I had if we wanted to, kind of wipe the dust off. What's your thoughts on the paranormal and stuff like that? And it's not like I was completely unaware of his thoughts on this stuff, but, and then he like gates unflooded. It was like, you don't even know. Like, my life is paranormal.
Oh.
And Jim, if you want to go about your life and all that stuff.
What really got me into it, I had an incident when I was a baby, baby toddler age. It was back. So originally, I am Canadian. I was born in Aurelia, Canada. Aurelia, Canada, and family hard times. Dad just had a stroke. Mom, trying to support the family, took any place that she could get. Right. So there's this farmhouse. It was unbelievably cheap for like rent and everything. So we come in. So we move in. Weird things start happening in this house that we just moved into. I remember as a kid, me and my brother, we would wake up with bruises every morning. And mom didn't beat us or anything. It was, and I remember staying up the one night and I looked around and my toys would just lift off the ground. And this happened to me and my brother. Toys would lift up off the ground and just float around the room. And then randomly they would just hit us while we were sleeping.
Jeez.
Another time in that house, I was playing hide and go seek with my brother. So I remember going in the closet hiding, and I hear him coming up the steps, and when I'm hiding in there, I'm like, oh, he's never gonna catch me. And I get like all antsy and all that. And then when he's about to break past like the door barrier, something from the back of the closet grabs me and rips me back. And then I start screaming, and my brother tries to open the door, door will not open at all. Eventually it does open. I'm on the ground. I'm like crying. And what my brother told me is he tells me to this day, is that I had 3 scratch marks on both of my arms where I got where it felt where I got grabbed.
Ooh, how old were you?
I was probably like 4 or 5. So this is like trying to remember everything. This is kind of stuff. This story comes a lot from my mom, my brother telling me, and I do remember the hide and go seek. I don't remember the scratches, but that's what they reminded me of. And then the toys. I remember the toys floating around. I also
and this was back before toys floated.
Yeah, this was back like 1996 maybe.
Oh my God. Shut up. Just shut up.
It was like forever ago.
I was out of the Army for 3 years.
God, do you remember that, Rob? 1996.
Oh,
You remember
God,
those?
man, like...
I mean, for real though.
Right. But the next part, like we would hear like almost like scratching at the basement door all the time. So my mom thinking, oh, it's just an animal probably got in, but she put baby powder on the footsteps so we could see what animals like trying to get in the house. It was baby footsteps at the basement door. It wasn't me and my brother because we weren't allowed down. Yeah, it was definitely
where the hell is this house? And who owns it?
I have no idea who owns it now. It's Rilia, Canada. It's in like the middle of nowhere out there, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
How long did you guys live there?
Probably like 6 months to a year, maybe. Like
all of that.
Oh no! That's not even the craziest part.
I wish
the story's starting.
That's not even the craziest part. So everything's happening. We grew up Quaker, so we went to the meeting house. We went and we were like, this stuff is happening in our house. We don't know what to do. So they come over. They do a blessing on the house. Things just get worse. It gets mad. We used to have pigs. So we would put the piglets in the basement, and so they would incubate like when they were too young to go out with the older pigs. And so one come of age, and my mom went to go walk outside and take it out. And as she broke the barrier of the door, the pig blew up in her arms, like blood, gore everywhere.
What?
This is from what my mom told me on when she did it, right? So with the blessing and everything, my mom's like freaking out. She goes to her one friend, talks to her friend who was Catholic. So they bring a priest out. Within 30 minutes, the priest is like, we need an exorcism in this house right now. But I mean, they can't get it. Obviously, you have to be a specific deacon or whatever to be able to perform an exorcism, right? So they bring somebody out a week later, and they do an exorcism on the house. And after that, everything stopped.
Was it a Quaker exorcism?
No, it was a Catholic.
It was Catholic. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know I actually have I know somebody that is Quaker, and I'm always curious that aspect of, is it religion?
Yes, but I was young when we would go to so I would say I'm Quaker, but I'm not, because I was like a kid, so I don't really remember the teachings from back then. I just remember when we would go, it wasn't really like prayer. It was more like you'd come in and you'd say what you did to help somebody, and you would go around the whole meeting house talking about that. And there was like a Sunday school kind of stuff there too, but I don't.
So, according to the internet, which is never wrong,
Never.
Being a Quaker is indeed a religion. It is specifically referring to the Religious Society of Friends, a Christian denomination with roots in England, where members believe in the direct guidance of the Holy Spirit and are known for their emphasis on peace and social justice. The founder of the movement was George Fox.
Yeah.
You
Interesting.
know, they were the first people that like stand against witch burning or like going to witch trials.
I
Apparently
didn't know
not.
that. No, we're learning all sorts of things. But what I'm actually all right, Ryan. Look at Paranormal Theory coming in. They're like having their
He likes to get himself in trouble.
I am curious though, because I feel like there's a few Quaker around where I'm at, and I'm always curious because I feel like they're not super public about what they speak about. So I'm curious what their take on hauntings. Oh my God. Well, tell me when I'm not. I'm moving around too much.
As I say, we went to Quaker meeting when I was a kid. I couldn't really tell you about it now. As I say, I remember going, I think the last time we went, it was probably in elementary school. And, it was just the teachings of, as I say, they would go around a room talking about like basically what they did good. And that might have been, I wasn't like, not saying I wasn't paying attention, but like, that's what they would do. I was a kid.
Oh, this is why you had problems. You weren't paying attention.
Exactly.
Clearly, we're performing
getting
in your community well enough.
Did your mom, have you guys ever talked about like if that priest that did, or the deacon, whoever performed the exorcism, was anything ever discussed about where they felt or what they felt was the issue in this location?
So we looked at the history of the house, and so we found out a father, and it was a father, a wife, and a son lived there right before us. I don't know how far back the history was, but the father went crazy, went to go kill his son, locked his wife in a room so she couldn't like get to stop him. And so she hears him kill her son, and she tried to I don't know if she tried to call the police or she tried to stop it, tried to get out, but couldn't get there and realized her son was dead, and then she killed herself. Jesus. And then the father snapped back into reality again, and then he killed himself afterwards.
This is like Amityville shit.
Yes.
Exactly. It sounds exactly like Amity.
Now we know why Sean tells his story first.
Yeah. We've done this on podcasts before.
You can't top exploding pigs.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
I won't mention the name, but we've done podcasts before where they asked us our paranormal stories and stuff. And like my entire story got cut out. And I'm like, I guess, right?
Aww.
Like, all right, fine, that's cool.
But what I will point out, what I think to me is I'm digging the balance, and I'm sorry that those were your experiences, Jim, because those aren't pleasant. And that's stressful for a family and for your mother. And to have, was it you and your brother? Was it just the two of you?
Yeah, it was me and my brother. My father did come back for a little bit, but the stroke was too much.
Yeah, so that's a heavy load for a mother to carry. So I think this is a really great balance, and maybe why Paranormal Nut works so well, because of what you both bring, right? To create what you create and what you bring. Do you feel that having Jim around, does he bring any extra connection to the other side, Sean? Do you ever feel that?
Yeah, if anything, it's me impeding the connections, I feel sometimes.
Oh, you're a cockblock? Are you a cockblock?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. And I've had these conversations where I think I might get in my own way mentally, right? And you kind of, if you shut yourself off, you won't notice things, or like things won't happen because like you don't want to play. We'll just go mess with Jim.
You got to ride the wave, baby.
Yeah. So Jim seems to be very more in tune with things, and it kind of gives us a very you know.
Now, and what I'll say, and I've only really investigated with Jim when I put that up.
Did you? I was saying hi to
We
him.
were paying attention. I investigated with Jim really only one time, right? And we were in my little scary mode there, and Jim was like, even killed, understandably so now. After all that fun stuff.
Exploding pig. What's gonna scare him?
There ain't no shadow people they got nothing. Hey, by the way, guys, first nut joke. What kind of nuts? Paranormal nut. What kind of nuts can you wear on your feet?
Cashews?
Cashews.
I got
You being a nut expert.
You come to our territory. You better bring some heavy hitter questions, okay?
Oh, they're
That's-
coming. I'm going light in the beginning here.
Okay, you're trying
There
to
you go.
lull us into a false sense
So,
of security.
but we
I
need to
guess.
let everybody on the side know if you have any good nut jokes. These are the boys to bring them to.
Yeah.
So
Oh, we're
hit them
ready.
with your best nuts. Like let's
Yeah, bust those nut jokes out.
bust those nut jokes out. Come on in. All right, so here we've got Sean with this incredible talent around him with producing and filming and all this stuff, and he's like, I'm getting into it. I love paranormal. And you got Jim walking in like, I've seen it all. I've seen it. I've seen the depths of hell, and we're gonna create this podcast. And here we go. We're starting Paranormal Nut. So can you guys give me a little insight as to what is your mission? Like what is sort of your thought process? Like you're like, okay, let's do a podcast, but what do you really want to do with Paranormal Nut?
Yeah, do you want to take this, Jim?
Oh, I was just gonna say, the reason I do this is because I want to prove it's a crazy story, and it sounds like it's not real, but like it happened to me. And I want to show people that the paranormal is not fake. Like there's things on the other side that like you might not be able to see, but there's something there. You know, saying I want to show that I'm not the crazy one that this story happened to. You know.
Do you feel like because you've had such intense experiences, Jim, you know, when you and especially in the YouTube realm, right? Like let's talk about a little bit what we see out there with content creators, right? You've got to me there's genres of this, right? You've got those that go out there and it's a very theatrical sort of thing, and they sort of, to me, go off of stories of very famous locations, and they sort of play up the legends or the experiences, right? And I think that's totally fine. I actually have no issue with that. They can do whatever they want. I think but it is a genre, right? Entertainment purposes. Then you kind of have those that go out there and they show sort of the other reality of paranormal, which is you can spend an awful lot of time in the dark and get absolutely nothing, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And then you do have those that sort of, I think, are on the edge of the reality thing, but they sort of go a little, maybe a little overboard with what they're trying to prove, or that everything they're seeing is paranormal. So because you've had those experiences, Jim, how do you feel about when you see other people doing that, especially on YouTube? Like, does it sort
it's for me, I see have both sides. Like, so Sean and I always talk about there's influencers and then there's actual hunters, like investigators.
Okay.
But then they're like in the middle, there's the hybrid between the hunter influencer.
Yeah, nothing exists solely in one or the other.
Yeah, but
you'll
like,
get some. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was like, you'll see some people get like, you see the reactions on some people's videos, and you're like, why are you jumping at that? There's nothing there. Or it would be like, or people are like, oh, you see that shadow person in the corner? But like, where Sean and I come in, I mean, we don't like try to hype it up, but we are very, I'd say Sean's a little bit more skeptical than I am when it comes to things. Like, we're always trying to debunk our own evidence. Like, okay, this could be this could be this. Okay. And we try to make like sense of everything. And well, like going back to saying, what's my thoughts on it? I mean, everybody has their way of putting their own content out. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't say there's any wrong way or right way. There's just like your opinion, I guess, of how you want to do it. And then I'd say, Sean, we fall like we're on the investigation side, but we're really close to the middle a little bit on it.
Yeah, and YouTube's very corrupting in this because the algorithm definitely likes a certain type of video, and that means, listen, it's not.
Just kidding, right?
Listen, there's a reason they get views, but. And it's not wrong, but you can see where maybe somebody you watch for several years, they will over time shift because there becomes a point where their YouTube channel becomes what puts food on their table, right?
Yeah,
sure.
And then they have to do what the algorithm essentially wants them to do, and you can see where that leads to a bad spiral. So you might even have some of the most investigatory people, but the moment when their livelihoods are in jeopardy, that's running in their subconscious. This needs to be a good video. So that's going to enhance their reaction. So it might not be an intentional thing. It might be subconscious. So I don't hold anything against them. And some people are just really good at expressing and reacting. I'm not an actor. So something scary will happen to me. I'm like, oh, guys, I'm kind of scared right now. Whereas I'm not going to go, whoa. And it's just.
And let me go
Did
back.
You practice that?
I'm not calling Ryan his stuff's fake or anything. I'm just saying he's better at acting than we are, with reactions to things.
Yeah, no, I actually love Paranormal Theories videos.
Yeah,
so.
no.
Okay, I sit there and I do.
Stop.
If he was here right now,
we can always send him a link. We can always send him a link.
I always joke, I'm in his chats, and every time I see something they had to do something cool on the content created side, I'm like, I'm stealing that.
Hello, Trevor Faith is here. Hey, Trev, how are you doing?
Hey, Trevor.
Yeah, it's sorry, Rob, I was taking over there for a minute.
Yep, this is what you do, lady.
It is what I do. I think I love what you guys do, and you guys really, you really are. And do you hate it that we call you the nice guys of the paranormal?
No,
I mean,
I think being a nice guy at Paranormal is a great thing. It just means we're not bad to people.
We got to be cool now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Overcompensate.
Where's my pack of cigarettes? I'm the bad boy now. Put it in my sleeve.
What do you mean? No, we're the cool kids.
Greaser from the 50s.
This is why we love having them around. But what? Go.
Nothing, go ahead, boss.
No, you go. You were about to say something. You were about to say something. Say it.
Yeah, but what you guys are getting and seeing right here is how they are in person too. It's what I love about them. One of the many things I love about them. But beyond that, they're very, very helpful and offer, and you're just good dudes. And
please go on. Keep going.
No, because I need something back before I give you more. But I guess just real quick, since you are a paranormal nuts.
Uh-oh. Is this a joke?
Which nuts? Which nuts are small, round, and they hang from trees?
Oh no, sorry. Nuts are small and hang from trees.
Small brown nuts that hang from trees.
Acorns?
Well, I mean,
no, monkey nuts. No, okay.
There you go.
That's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, going back to what you were saying, we love to help people, and I might offer too much unsolicited advice sometimes if I do try to self-analyze myself. I don't want to be rude to people, but I see things, I'm like, oh, you could be doing this. And some people get very offensive when you're telling them what to do and how to do stuff with their things. But it's not out of you're doing something wrong. It's you're doing good things. I want to help you do it,
That's called networking, and it's why I think we really appreciate you guys and what you do. And if you guys haven't caught their show, Thursdays 8:00 p.m. Do never say 8p. Don't do it.
What is that? What is 8p? 8 pennies? What are we doing?
It just irritates Sean. But 8 p.m. Eastern time, you can catch these guys. But what I do also love what you guys do is, and your show is amazing. If you guys haven't caught it yet, you guys do need to put this on your schedule. You guys don't just talk about content creation. I love that you guys bring up theories and thoughts and things out there. And Sean, you sort of touched on it, like you loved history and all that stuff. So you guys really talk about this stuff. And I think it's one thing that is very different than a lot of the popular, super popular content creators, because they don't really offer a conversation. And you guys actually offer that conversation. So in the field of paranormal, and what you guys are out there doing. And Jim, I feel like this kind of goes towards you first, like theory wise, where do you land on what was going on in the farmhouse? And, as you're exploring the paranormal a little deeper now, like, what do you guys think about theories and where like an experience like an exploding pig, like what are the chances of something like that happening?
To me, I just feel like it takes a lot of manifestation, a lot of energy from it. Like, I mean, how much energy does it take a ghost to make a REM pod go off? You know what I mean? To actually manifest something that physical, whatever it was powerful. I feel like. Yeah, I don't want to say it, like, because you get into get into it. What happened?
No, I just Tom's in chat. Fantastic.
Oh, okay, yeah. When it comes to like for me, saying demon, like I say demon because it's something that like I saw when I was a kid. And it's not like I'm trying to like brag. Oh, I saw we had a demon or whatever, right? It's just what kind of got me into the paranormal. So when it like looking back at it now. I mean, I haven't seen anything like that in any of the investigations we've done. Like that was anywhere close. I mean, you get things moving, physical things moving a little bit, but nothing to that extent. Like I've never seen since.
Yeah, floating toys, and I don't know which toys these were. So, like weight wise, what are we talking? Are we talking?
Oh, we're talking
balloons.
We're talking like toy plastic cars, like that big.
Lead paint.
Lead paint. You remember those etch-a-sketches? Yeah. That floating. A toy house. Draw a picture with like floating. It was pretty big stuff, and it was floating around a room like G.I. Joe and all his friends just having a paranormal time together, I guess.
You ruined the vibe.
I know.
It wasn't demons. Your room was Toy Story. That's all.
Yeah, right. Could be a Disney movie.
That's what it was the whole time.
Yeah. Could have just been a Disney movie.
The crappy neighbor kid blew up the pig.
So, Sean, for you, I heard on your last show, you guys were talking and you were bringing up some quantum physics, and you like to really kind of dig into some of these theories. So when it comes, he just said you're more skeptical when it comes to investigation. So when you hear Jim's stories, when he shares those, where do you land in theories of the paranormal and what he could have been experiencing back then?
So I really reserve my judgment for when it's a story for something that I'm not there, right? One, you never want to be dismissive of somebody's experience.
Absolutely.
I trust Jim. I've investigated with Jim. He's not somebody who over exaggerates stuff.
Jimmy Wade house.
Well, no, you might get scared. Like everyone gets scared. But like you're able to come down and go, what happened? What did we do? So I have no idea what was happening in Jim's house. The fact that the part of this story that Jim left out, which I really like, and I think it's probably one of the best parts of the story, is they had a plumber that used to fix things in their basement, and he'd always complain about how dark it was in their basement. And then, like, he comes after the priest did the exorcism and actually makes a comment like, oh, God, did you guys, like, paint in here? Because it looks a lot brighter and stuff like that. Okay. And it's things like that where I look at that and I go, that's, granted, it's all in the frame of the story, but that's like an almost independent review right there of somebody giving who knows nothing about what happened in the house, but notices a sensory change. And so stuff like that interests me, and I try to kind of analyze stuff like that, where things line up. It's kind of you know how you, and not to like, I'm not trying to belittle things and say things in like all these things are in fiction, but like I'm like a snob when I watch TV shows and something doesn't react the way it's supposed to in the show because of the rules set up. So I'm always trying to figure out like how is this like how do things connect and make sense? And how do we make those things make sense without making too much far of a leap? And how do you extrapolate that? Because I do believe in a very scientific world, but I also think that we might just not understand all the science, and that like if there are entities out there, they are governed by some form of rules. And I'm trying to kind of figure out what philosophies and rules dictate them, right? So that's kind of where I kind of tackle things.
Do you guys see, like, these guys are not just out there with a camera making crazy faces. They're actually, adding
the
to
face
the
is just
community.
what it is. It's just like sorry.
So
But I do love that. Like, right? They add to the community.
Oh God, yeah. And Damien, I have, I think, 6 of your questions.
Yeah,
We will get to them. Before we move forward, I want to know, where do you guys think nuts get their gas?
Nuts. I got nothing. Nothing I want to say on air, at least.
At the Shell station. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
And to go in with so the attachment must have been a house or land. Yeah, that's
okay. I do the questions.
Oh, sorry.
Jimmy, this is not your show.
Go ahead.
So inside in the house, that like if you know about exorcisms, there's infestation, and we were at the phase of oppression. So there was nobody actually possessed by anything yet.
Okay.
But it was getting worse and worse and worse, and it was pushing to the point where I'd say puts you into a mental state where you don't fight it anymore.
Okay.
And you kind of you don't let it in, but your spirits can weaken at that point because it's everything that's been happening. Mm-hmm. But we were able to get somebody in before it got to the portion of possession. And I don't know who it was going after. I don't know if it was my brother. And it, like, in the time of the situation, my father just had a stroke. So we were already kind of like down on our luck with everything. So I think it just saw an easy victim or easy like victim at the time. And, goes for it.
But something like that, you move into this house and we don't know how long the house had been empty, right? We don't know how long the house had been empty before you moved in, and you were only there, you said, between 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
But what we don't really know, and I don't know that people talk about, at least not that I've ever heard, and not that I've done any deep dive on this, but does something like that have to actually end in a possession? Can it just simply possess the location to make it miserable for anybody that does move in? Does it have to move into a human living host?
I think, like, I guess it really depends on the view you take. Like, I know in the Catholic, in church, they are more about the soul count, like corrupting God's child to turn away from him, right? Other theories, I mean, it could just be like it could have just been a dark entity and not a demon, or like with poltergeist activity. You know what I'm saying? But it was, I don't know what it was, because it was just really powerful. Whatever it was, it had enough energy to manifest such physical acts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Should we get to some more of Damien's questions?
Rob? Yeah, I'm going to go back to his first one. Missing time. We had a little bit of a discussion about this the other night. Have you guys ever experienced time loss or anything even remotely similar to time loss?
I can't remember. Has Damien asked this question on the after show before? Because I feel like we've gotten a very similar question. I don't know if
Damien,
it's
are you
Damien.
recycling your bullshit questions here? Like,
Well, because we just talked about this on Wednesday Live because Rob had a time loss situation.
Ah.
And
yeah,
so
you would know, Sean, if you watched our show.
There's a lot of shows to watch out there.
All right.
No, so I would say I have not experienced missing time. I feel as though like all my time's always been accounted for, but there are times that it feels like time is being elongated or sped through, though I can still account for it. Like just at Mid Orange, Steve and Bill were there. Steve Kometz, Digging Deeper, Bill Empty Casket. And obviously Jim was there and our camera guy Matt. There was this one room in B2 or 3.
Mhm.
It was B. No, it was A2. It was A2 because that was
the later part of the night.
Yeah, it was that. You know that room, that wooden room in the back of that. You go upstairs, you make a right, and you go all the way down.
Yeah,
that's the room that you.
The one that's not finished. That's all still like
wood. It's weird.
We stepped in there. It felt really weird. Steve talks to us the other, talked to us. He reached out and he made his post on his Digging Deeper. Like, I felt missing time. So we actually sent all our camera footage. Like, here, review it, whatever you need to do, because, if something's like that's happening, we won't know. But then I recount my time when I did like a solo in there, right? It was like 15, 20 minutes. But to me, it felt like I was there for like only 2 to 5 minutes, and I felt really bad because I felt like I copped out on like a solo because like I was getting scared and I was hearing shit. But
Para with a normal is in the house right now.
Para with the normal. You know when else you had time loss? At 3:30 in the morning when you were supposed to be leaving, and I was standing there going, "Where are these guys?"
I was under an Estes, and I blame the people around me for not wrapping me up in a timely manner. Yes.
Jimmy, stop texting. I know what you're doing. Yeah, so we did talk about that on our show the other day. Time loss is a weird thing, and when it happens to you, it's actually frightening. I mean, that one for me it took me out of the game for a few months because I was like, this is stupid because you don't know what happened to you, right? And you don't know what you did or where you went, and you're just like, how did that happen? And it's kind of. Not kind of. It's very frightening. All right, let's move on let's knock another demo question out here. When editing evidence from a location, do you use any equipment and get more evidence from the energy of the evidence? Damien. From the energy of the evidence you're working on, even though you're not on site. I see what he's saying. So upon review.
I see.
Do you have any relapse? Do you have any sort of activity spike up around you at home or wherever you're editing?
I actually have before. I forget what hunt it was. I think it was Penhurst, because I remember we just finished it, and I got back, and so I was meant because I just got the Ovulus actually because I bought it at the Ghost Stop stand, right? And I remember I turned it on. I was testing it out, seeing how it worked and everything. And so I was like, well, I'll take a nap and I'll take a look at what it comes up. I remember hearing 3 times. It was like, wake up, wake up, wake up, 3 times in a row, like rapid fire. And I woke up and I look over. I was like, what the hell? And I just read out, wake up 3 times on my Ovulus. Which is kind of crazy. And it was like after we finished the Penhurst Paracon.
Okay.
There you go.
I was going through evidence between the time too. So it was like just kind of, I don't know if I brought something with, but, and then we also talked about like, because I can kind of feel things when I go to a location. And like maybe it was kind of like it was sensing my energy because I felt like I should have been like editing instead of sleeping.
Oh, maybe.
So it was like pushing wake up, wake up, wake up, and it pushed out of me and pushed into the Ovulus.
It was just my intent being projected to you. More like, get back to work, get back to work.
That's right. That's right. The time for dicking around.
Yes. Very good question, Damien. Oh, hold on. Time lost. Here comes Mike G. 12 cores and one rectal chug of a fireball. I haven't tried that.
I was actually about to say something like, "There's a reason I don't drink heavily, and
Well-
it's because I want to be able to, account for all my time."
Virgil.
Fucking Virgil.
Yeah.
We got all the comedians on tonight. This is actually
I'll take Bono.
from you
I'll
too.
take Bono.
Bono. I was gonna say you look like you just came off the range, but the shooting range. But so yeah, Gagliano, we're gonna have to talk about this one. Fireball?
Yeah,
hell's
that would not be my. Well, okay. First
That
of all, I
wouldn't
don't have
be-
any
yeah.
choices for a rectal chug, but
Doesn't seem. No, tonight is the first I'm ever hearing of a rectal chug. Believe it or not.
oh,
We're not, Rob. We're old.
Is that
We're
is that
old.
like a new thing?
It's
not
gotta
new
be.
to me.
I mean,
You're
Jackass.
Really?
Yeah, that was a big thing like Jackass would do. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't.
so I think it stemmed from that time period. But
Oh Lord,
Jackass
The
is
show
a
is-
time period. Is
the
just
show
a
has
weird
gone off the
concept.
rails.
The show was
know.
never on the rails.
That's right. Did we start on the
So,
rails? I don't even know.
Paranormal nut. Which nut wears a bra?
Nutmeg.
No.
Oh, that was a good one. That was
Yeah,
a good
that
one.
way it works.
Yeah, that would work. That could work. Chestnuts.
Oh, okay, I like nutbag better, but
Yeah.
All right. Okay. It's not your joke.
That,
Not your joke
Yeah.
like that.
Our
Okay?
answer, though. Our
When you
answer.
have it on your show, then you can like it better. There we go.
All right. Do we have
So
another
you-
Damien question? Because he
All right.
really
Well,
does.
I mean, listen, it's the Damien, honest to God, needs to start his own show here.
Or he just needs to like write my questions for me. and
Yeah,
I'll
I was
just-
going to say, I'm about to get Damien on
Yeah.
the staff over here.
We're gonna
Yeah.
do this one here. We're gonna do this one because the other one already answered. I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud. Blah blah blah, and this one's already answered. So, do you think spirit energy is quasi particles since they can only be seen when moving in one direction? I saw him talk about this recently.
Midichlorians. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I said it wrong for all the Star Wars fans out there.
This is I don't know if this is referencing a certain study or something, but because witnessing spirits move in a certain direction, that's never been a confirmed. Like there might be some residual ghosts that like repeat the same thing, but that's not the only type of spiritual energy out there. So if you're saying
Thank
like,
you.
so if
No,
you're
you're
saying,
right.
yeah,
I believe.
yeah. If you're saying that information stored at locations is like something that's being played back, I'm with you on that. But to say it's the only necessarily version of spirituality out there, spiritual energy, I would disagree on that. But
Agreed. And
Energy cannot be created or destroyed.
all right,
Yeah.
Einstein.
That's my line.
Yeah, listen.
Good line.
I am of the same school of thought. I believe a residual haunting is something very different than an intelligent haunting. And I don't think every ghost is the spirit of a human being. I just don't.
Yeah.
And I don't believe they all are, Uncle Joe that died in the bedroom from a rectal chug. I just don't think that's what it is.
Why
But,
is all my fireball missing?
yeah. But Gagliano coming in with,
Yeah.
as for energy, is it possible that every time we rewatch our evidence or we listen to our evidence, that it sends the energy back to its original location versus you? It's
Like a
that is
quasi
great
spiritual entanglement.
question. That would be like quantum physics here.
So
But Sarah and I have experienced this. I have experienced this multiple times where, an EVP can change sometimes from day to day what you're hearing. I have a photograph that Sarah has. I've forced her to delete it, and she made me resend it to her, and then we look at it, and it will change. And this, whatever we're looking at in that thing, fucking changes almost every time to the point where it's.
But the interesting thing about that picture So this picture comes from this very famous location, and you sent it to me. You didn't tell me what to look for.
Nope.
I told you what I saw. And to me, and I did, like, I think I hyper fixated on that photo for hours. Like I would look at it,
It
look
had
away,
me
look
worried.
at it.
Had
Yeah.
me worried.
But it changed in the sense of it was still two people.
Yep.
And she does something different in the photo, but consistently, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It didn't change. It changed only a couple different ways, right? And when I told you what I saw, because I had no knowledge really of this particular location, of its history, or I was never interested in it. So it wasn't like I was trying to make something fit, but she seemed to be the dominant one in the picture. And she was the one doing the changing, but she did the same things. And he did. He's like, you have to delete that photo now. Like because I couldn't, you can't stop. Like it drew you in. The picture draws you in.
You're the only person I've ever sent it to. I have shown people this photo on my phone, and they're like,
well, I do think ghosts are getting smarter with technology. And I don't know if that's like just more recent people are becoming spirits, if it's human intelligence or the whatever intelligences they are learning. Because we were at the Shanley, and Jim comes running up to me at one point, and I'm doing producing stuff and like making sure everything's like good before we start shooting. Yeah. Jim comes up to me and goes, "Oh, you called me?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't call you." And we look at our phones. There's no calls, and this is on Facebook, but there's no calls on Facebook on my end. But he has a missed call from me.
Oh yeah.
And the weird thing is,
no, it wasn't a miss. I picked it up.
Oh, you picked it up, and there was nothing.
I heard nothing, and I heard kind of like a little whisper in the background.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he might have butt dialed me, and so I go out, and I was like, well, he's probably locked out because they said if the door shuts, you got to open it from the inside to let people in. And so I like go out there, and I'm like, oh, Sean, did you get locked out? And he's like walking. He's like, no, I just got here.
Yeah, and I'm like. He goes, you called me. I go, my phone's on the charger back in the gentleman's quarter, all the way in the back. And and
the gentleman's quarter.
Yeah. The weird thing is, like that's the only way like me and Jim were communicating generally when we talk about stuff. We'll Facebook call opposed to like calling on the phone. And it's interesting that the ghost chose to do that opposed to like calling or doing anything else. So it's like
because his phone was back on the charger in the back too.
See, to me, right, that could be partially because of you, right? I'm not sure. This can get really convoluted.
No, I love convoluted. Yeah, I think I know what you're about to say.
Right, because it's what you're familiar with, right?
Yeah,
it's how you operate. Just like I don't think. But there's can still be an impression, right? So this photograph that I sent to Sara doesn't contain whatever the hell that thing is. However, the imagery is there, and there's an impression that is left, even visually, I believe, right? To see this thing change or morph, and it does. And I'll never fucking put it out there, so nobody ask me because it's not happening.
Photo.
Everybody, no, because
no.
I got zero to prove to anybody. That's my experience. There was a reason I took this photo, and it was because of seeing this shit happening with my eyes. And I'm like, you just got to take pictures. You just got to take pictures. And I sat on it for a long, long time. And I only shared it with Sara because I really trust her and I wanted her opinion.
That's not the same anymore. That was 3 years ago.
That was 3 years ago. Now I have new photos she'll never see.
There's no opinions needed anymore.
But no, I believe that, and we've said this before, sometimes they'll present themselves in a way they know is going to get your attention. So if Facebook Messenger is how you two typically communicate, then that is known. That's a known factor in this thing. which means to me that these ghosts, spirits, whatever, are much bigger than just this spirit of a human being. I think it's more. It's energy. It's information, right? And that's why, for me, remote viewing is so incredible, because anybody can do it. And I'm talking about government-style remote viewing. So if we can gather that information from the universe, and people have pegged and nailed actual blind targets out there with amazing accuracy, then why can't that piece, this bit of this bit of information that is supposed to be relayed to you for some reason happen through Facebook Messenger or any other means? Who knows? That's why I think there's signs everywhere, every day, and we all just ignore them or miss them because they're either so subtle, or we're just training ourselves not to look for them.
Well, I'm curious.
Reading patiently, my friend.
But I'm curious, though, and I don't know if you can remember this, Sean, when you were just getting there. Well, you weren't just getting there because your phone was in the gentleman's quarter, but you were walking in. Did you have something on your mind that you're like, oh, I need to tell Jimmy this?
So if I recall, because we were collaborating with Paranormal Theory. This is the first time we had Matt come on cameraman, and we had someone else there too. So I was probably just thinking about everyone's relative, like what's going on. So yeah, definitely Jim's always on my mind.
Jimmy was on your mind. Well, I'm curious though, if that, we talk about this and Rob Walsack just posted a question on Ghost Gear, and he was talking about what role do we play? And Rob and I, we talk about this stuff all the time. What role do we play in the moving of energy? And so were you in that moment? And because you guys were just setting up, was this the kind of precursor to your night, right?
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Was there something there? Jimmy, I don't know what to call you. I keep calling you everything, Jimmy. But right, like this is your dude, this is your guy, and you guys are in there, and like you said, you were sort of going through your process. Was there something there that pushed that energy through, and it was just you reaching out to Jim?
Yeah, I think now that you say that, it kind of frames a lot of things from that night, because we started a night not even filming yet, and we were kind of just like waiting for everyone to get ready. Me and Jim were ready, and I don't know how many of you know the various things you can do at the Shanley, but one of them is they have in the gentleman's lounge, they have the deck of cards, and they say you can ask the spirit to show you or to say what the card is that's going to be pulled or whatever. So I literally just joking around with Jim, like very in the moment, I go, oh, watch this. It's going to be the 10 of clubs. And I pulled it out, and it was the 10 of clubs. So I think for whatever was going on, I was whether something was using me to be in tune, or whether I was using it, or whether there's some form of interaction we don't fully understand. But something about that night, it was almost like I was very hyper-focused and just kind of
it's
in
your
the zone.
It was your location.
You were connected. Hey, so Jim, you said you heard a little whisper. Did it sound like this? Jim, I'm in the bordello.
Yep.
But you were connected.
That was
right?
the other call later.
That was the other one, right? But this all lends to, another thing that we talk about a lot is, us four can be in the gentleman's quarters. A paranormal experience could happen right there in the middle of the room. And Jim's perception of it will be different than Sean's perception of it, and different than Sarah's, and different than Rob's. And again, that becomes the personal aspect of a paranormal experience, which is why I personally hate when people question other people's experiences, because to me, that's the no-no, right? That's like, hey, like you don't get to tell them what they experienced. You don't get to tell them how they experienced it. Having had some really big ones over the years, things that literally turned my life upside down. and my belief systems and the way I investigate all of that, for anybody to come along and tell me that I experience it that way, to me is just ludicrous, right?
Yeah.
But if we can all experience that same thing so very differently, it means we're a piece of that experience, right? It means we've contributed to it in some form or fashion. I think that's just me.
And to touch on that, like I said it earlier, but I never want to be dismissive towards anyone's experience.
Yeah.
Now, if someone comes to me and tries to, like, what did you see? What did you experience? I'll give them my interpretation of events, but I'm never going to frame it like, oh, this happened. I'll say, this is what I think may have happened, or this is what could have happened, and things like that. And, and me and Jim will watch other people's evidence and we'll, between ourselves, have a conversation and quote unquote debunk it, or like not necessarily debunk it, but just give our opinions between ourselves. But we will never offer our debunking unless someone's looking for it, because we're not in the role of shattering what you think happened. And honestly, and just like what I say, you have more information about what happened there than I do, right? Or whoever was experiencing that. I can only look at what we have as tangible evidence. And as we all know in the paranormal field, that's not even half the picture 9/10 of the time. So,
well, we talk about that all the time. And when you really look at, when I listened to Jim's story when he was a kid, one, you were a kid, so you are relying on the retelling of the story. So right now you're getting their interpretation, but more so what people will pick out, they'll cherry pick what you say, right? But all the things that come up with this, and what I have learned, as I get older, when you do start to realize, like, your opinion just isn't like, you should just, it's your fucking opinion, like, let it go. But all the things that go into that, right? Like your dad having a stroke, the struggle your mom was going through. Then there's all the other things that we don't discuss. Most people don't come in and say, hey guys, I was just at Shanley and I just had this really big experience and this is what happened. What I'm not telling you is, maybe I got into a huge fight with somebody, the day before and I was still feeling rather whatever, or I was at the McDonald's drive-thru and I was a total asshole to the, to the clerk. And, like we don't add the things that do play, I believe, into those experiences. And so when people cherry pick the evidence, they put no consideration into, well, wait a minute. Can I ask you deeper questions? Can I ask you more personal questions? And you may or may not be able to answer those, especially when it's something so long ago. Yeah. But I think that's why, for some, like I see, they're dismissive of the YouTube paranormal channels, because there's not a lot of personal play. They're either trying to recreate a legend or recreate the stories of a location and not going in and having an experience. It seems like you guys are going in and you're filming. If you were to have an experience and you catch it, awesome.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I like about Paranormal Theory. Yeah. So, and I agree. So a lot of YouTube channels are very surface level and superficial in some cases, right? But it doesn't mean they don't have a voice or belong. It just means it's not my style. It's not my thing. And they have their own fans, right? And so it doesn't bother me. I know this is a hot topic and divisive for some people. The only channels I don't love are like the bashing and the hatred kind of stuff. Like, to me, go out and do everything. Do paranormal your way. Go have fun, film it. And if people don't like it, we're not forcing them to watch it yet. That's one of my plans when I run for office in 2030. We're going to force people to watch YouTube. And only two channels.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, no, it's those deep discussions, right? And it's those talks, and then all of a sudden you're like, maybe this does make a little bit of sense. That for me is exploration. That for me is what makes this fun. It's also why I don't really call it evidence, right? I call my stuff an experience because evidence to me is a thumbprint, right?
Mhm.
That's evidence. You broke into this house, your thumbprints on that doorknob, that's evidence. We can use it to
Did you
physically
say your
prove
footprint is on that doorknob?
thumbprint.
Oh,
So don't judge a person how they open a door. Some people
Yeah,
use their
and
feet.
listen, there's nothing wrong with opening
Yeah.
a doorknob with your foot.
It's honestly, if you come into a room and you open that door with your foot, people will have a lot more respect for you.
I can do that. Have you seen my enormous feet?
oh God. Oh my
Well,
God.
this is a show about nuts, not feet. Okay.
If my rib wasn't broke,
So here's a question. Here's
I'll find it on Foot Finder.
that's just half of it.
You're gonna get Denise all going on her feet for money. So Sean and Jim, true. How did you feel about this? I heard Ryan from Paranormal Theory. I heard him say on your show, you have the best show on the Get Haunted Paranormal Podcast program.
Yeah, I heard him say that too.
Yeah, and I have screenshots for proof. When Paranormal Theory hits 1 million views or 1 million subscribers, Ryan will get a paranormal nut tattooed on his ass. So everyone's got to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Fact. So I just want to put that out there. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, it's statistically not true, but I believe it in my heart. So, you know.
yeah, I was watching and I was like,
Yeah.
nice. I like that. All right, Ryan. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Guy comes along. We helped him out a little, right? now he's too big for us.
Yeah. He doesn't have time for us, and now he's judging he's ranking the shows.
Yeah.
He's like
yeah,
Paranormal, the best show.
We should do that as an episode, Jim. We'll stir the pot. We'll do a
Just rank all the shows.
Get Haunted tier list show.
We would be immediately the #1 hated channel there ever was.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Probably be a Euro. Probably be
Yeah.
Euros.
Finally,
place,
we finally know.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, what do you guys have coming up? Like, we're gonna have to have you guys back because I do love that you guys offer the expansion of these conversations, that you're willing to dig in and that you have your interest outside, that you have these deep personal experiences to bring to the table. I think it is different. I think that, like you said, the algo and all that stuff plays a part on why certain channels are popular. But I think this is where, unfortunately, social media has made us a little lazy, right? Just because your channel fits that criteria and it sort of pops off doesn't mean it's solid information, right? Or that it's I don't really love the word educational for paranormal, but it's not necessarily information to add to your deep dives and to your digs, right? It's just that it hit all the right marks and, could be more for entertainment than it could be anything else. But what do you guys have coming up, or what is sort of your 2025 looking like for Paranormal Nut?
Oh, too many. I make too many plans, and I'm not as organized enough to have the amount of plans that I have.
Okay.
But we got a couple of hunts coming up, a couple of cool interviews coming up. But I believe we're going to be at Mid Orange. I don't think we've coordinated that fully, but we're going to be with you guys at Mid Orange. Yeah, we're coming back. We can't not. It was the funnest night that we've had investigating. So of course we got to come back. I think Jim's going to meet you guys in Gettysburg when you do that fun trip. I will not be making that.
Oh, are you coming to Farnsworth?
Yeah, Farnsworth. And then Friday, I think of the orphanage.
We need a dump button. No, okay. What I do? So we have a video coming out. I believe everyone mostly is here familiar with. We did a hunt at My Haunted Manor. That video comes out not this week, next week. This video we do an interview with Tim Banal of America, The Revival. Great paranormal show, kind of a podcast that like preceded the term podcast. He's been doing it forever. Tim's a cool guy. Hopefully YouTube doesn't pull that down because I think he was ripping cigs the entire episode. But
and he's what is it? He's the
he edits. He does editing for East Coast to Coast. Yeah. So Yeah, fun stuff. But yeah, My Haunted Manor, and then we're going to be interviewing Trey and Jeff of My Haunted Manor as well. So that's what we got going on in the paranormal field. At least everything we can say right now.
Say right now.
Oh well, Jimmy's just letting all sorts of things out of.
Yeah, I know. I'm
I know.
letting everything out. Dang it.
Yeah, we need.
like,
you didn't give us
like,
a list. We need a list every time we come on a show of things we're not allowed to talk about. It'd be too long.
I just immediately just throw the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, guys, you are just honestly, again, you are the nice guys in the paranormal. It has been so much fun to watch you guys. Your show is it's I don't always pop on to show that I'm there, but I am watching you guys, and you really do offer, great expansion to those conversations. You have fun. You can see it. You guys are having fun, but you take it serious, and I think it's a beautiful balance. And to learn the balance of who you guys are, now it makes sense to me. Like, this all makes sense. And I would love to we need to do an investigation all together, because Sean, I'm much like you. I always sort of call myself the cock block of the ghost too. Like, I am like, everybody else is getting this great shit going on, and I'm like, hello.
Yeah. There's so many times I'll leave a room and everything starts back up.
Yeah.
She saw one of the most amazing things at Mid-Orange, and still.
I sent her our thumbnail for Mid-Orange, because it's going to be also for the after show, and it's literally me as a silhouette because there's a light in front of me. And she goes, "Did you actually see that thing at Mid-Orange?" I'm like, "What thing? That's me."
Sean's the creature.
I was like, I gotta talk to you. He's like, oh, well, that's me, and I had to look closer, and I'm like, okay, it's like this light in front of him, but. It did, Rob. It did have a vibe of what I saw at Mid-Orange. So, hey, Ernie.
Look, just don't feel bad, because early on when I first met Sarah, we were talking about something, and I was like, I'm not as dumb as I look, and she wrote, "You're not." Thank you. See,
yeah,
you don't remember that?
Just sit there. I will say, in Sarah's defense, right?
Don't.
I'll
go ahead. I'll let you do it.
I think there's an interesting thing going on with like time slippage, because we've been to a lot of places that have had an apparition named Big Jim. Right. And I think if you actively go and start investigating these places, maybe, I don't know, an echo or a resonance gets left behind. So maybe you did see me as a silhouette in Mid-Orange, and it was just some echo resonating in time of me walking around.
Which building? What building was it?
That was the beginning of the night. B2.
Oh, that was at B2. Yeah. B2.
Yeah, we were in a B building. I think it was B2.
Could have been me.
B2
upstairs?
Behind A4.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we were in B2. This is like a game of Battleship.
Yeah. Where did you see it?
So we were all sitting in the living room like area with the fireplace, but I came out into the hallway. So there was the stairs
upstairs
going
or downstairs?
It was downstairs. Okay. So I went into the hallway, and I looked to my right. So it would have been going out to the side of the building. But that was like, it's the long hall that goes down into a big room. I don't know what that big room is. It's like a
Kelly's saying it's B1. Yeah. So, it would probably be beneath the wood room.
Yeah. So we got to go to B1 next time we're there. That way we can fulfill. We have to fulfill the prophecy.
Must fulfill all prophecies.
You do.
This vibe is good.
Ooh.
I was gonna bring up
not sponsored.
Talking about like time slippage.
Yeah.
When I was at New Egypt, I got like a EVP that was weird. Because it was like when I heard it, I heard Jim, you know me, because I was like, who's here? Who is this?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard like, Jim, you know me, and it sounded exactly like my brother.
Oh,
and it had like same mannerisms and everything. And I'm just like, so when I heard it, I got goosebumps, and I immediately called my brother at 1
How
o'clock.
many things are running through your mind at that point, right?
Yeah, because like I
Jesus.
heard it, I was like, "What's going on?" Like it sounded like the same mannerisms, the way he talks, not like same voice, but because it was like through the radio. But so I called him, and we had like a conversation about it, and it almost got like interstellar. He was like, "Maybe you got that because we had this conversation now." So looking back through time, coming back to it again, maybe I passed and came back, and you're like, "Jim, you know me," knowing later on that we'll have that conversation.
I need a joint for this.
It's like the Interstellar. It's kind of like Interstellar. Like,
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Stay.
Slamming the bookshelves. Yep.
Yeah.
And then, well, Damien, you bring up mimics. Maybe, I mean, we believe there are entities that can mimic us, but also maybe in a separate category, something that does it like almost like a convergent evolution, but spiritually, like can replicate us, and it might be us on a higher consciousness frequency or something along those lines.
So we had that happen at RCI. I had a group down. I was with Danny.
For those of us who can't spell RCI, what is that?
RCI, Randolph County Infirmary.
Okay.
We were down in the basement, and I had necrophonic, and I had just gotten this, right? So like I'd seen another crew with it, and I was obsessed with the way it sounded, right? So I got the necrophonics on the tablet, and I got a speaker going, and we were on one end of the building. It's a very interesting building, and the basement is really, really interesting. So we were at one end of the basement, and I was looking at the other end. So there's like a hallway, but there's only rooms on one side, right? I think the rooms were in the middle of the hallway, and a big flash of light happened. Like, what the hell? And I thought, oh, somebody must be coming downstairs with their flashlight. We went down there. Nobody was there. The necrophonics was still sitting back at the other end where we had started. And it said my name, and it sounded like Rob. Like, I thought it was Rob. Because we were like, wait, what was that? But it was like, that clearly just came out of the speaker. So how is the necrophonic sounding like Rob? Because he has a way of saying my name. It's very Jersey, in my opinion.
Hey, whoa.
So we were talking about Mid-Orange earlier, and we've been talking about Mid-Orange this entire night. But in that whole room where I was doing the solo, where we had that time differential going on, they were all downstairs, all the way right by the stairs. I'm all the way back in that unfinished room. They literally hear me come out and walk out probably 5-10 minutes before I actually do. And then I hear them talking like about what I don't know at the time because I can't make out what they're saying, but they're essentially talking what they think is about to me. And then I'm like, that's when I start questioning things and start wrapping things up. And then I come down, and they're like, we thought you just came down like 5 minutes ago. We heard you walk up and you're about to come down, but you didn't come down.
We were talking shit. We're like, you coward, you left already?
Yeah.
And then we got to the edge, and we're like, Sean? What? And it was like he wasn't there, but it sounded like he was like right there. Like he said something and was coming to walking down, and we're like, oh, let's go see the joking,
because I heard them talking. I was like, okay, well, I'll wrap up and then I came down like 5 minutes later, and it's like it just all feeds back into itself. But also, it could just be another entity mimicking me, which is probably even more scary. But
and I'm looking at Damien's thing here. Is it feeding on your memory or thought and using that person? Like, think about that. Do they mimic the people that you're comfortable with, especially when we're all working together in a location, right? And Rob and I do a lot of our sessions, like where we'll team up for those with a group, right? And he'll work on the EVP part. So was it that whatever was down in the basement with us at that point, did it know that I was comfortable with Rob and that I would maybe respond to it, right? Or because I kind of did. It was just like, oh, he's calling us, right? I didn't know if we had gone over our time limit. It was kind of one of my first times that I was leading a group. So it was like, did I go over my time limit? It was like, is he calling it? And then you just realize like that was coming from a speaker that wasn't Rob. But it sounded just, and Danny and I both felt, if I'm not misspeaking. Danny and I both felt like it sounded just like Rob.
Well, that's funny because also at Mid Orange, and I'm not super familiar with Rob. Like we've talked and we've hung out in person at like Mid Orange
At band camp.
At band camp, yeah, right. And that's what it started feeling like. We did Panasonics, but Rob was like 2 or 3 buildings away.
Mhm.
Okay.
And me, Steve, and Bill were all like, "That sounds like Rob talking and like giving like his spiels about things and like how we're gonna do stuff." And we were like hyper convinced that you were like in the next building over, and that we were just hearing you. But like we talked to you afterwards, and you were like completely other side of the prison apparently.
Yeah.
And it was that was fun.
That's
So they're getting to know you a bit too much there. I think,
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, you've been there quite a bit. All right, well, we could just keep talking to these guys, but I do know that coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, of course, is Compass of Curiosity with Russ Stiver and Ian Murphy. And tonight they have Candy, of the event organizer for Rock Island Roadhouse Esoteric Expo right there in Rock Island, Illinois. So you're going to want to catch that show tonight. The fellas are pretty funny. I told her good luck with those guys because Ian gives Russ an awful lot of crap. So they're quite the show. So catch that. And then at 11:05 Eastern Time, be sure to catch Ghost Box Radio with Greg Bakken. I will be his guest tonight, and we're going to be speaking about women in the paranormal. So I'm looking forward to that. But guys, I honestly really do love talking to you. I love floating these theories around and hearing what you guys think, and to be able to watch you guys grow your channel and watch your content creations come to life is so amazing. And I know everybody that has had the opportunity to work with you in person, they just can't say enough nice things about you. So thank you for being the good in the community. We need more of that. So we appreciate that. Please, you guys can catch their show on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. When are you guys starting your replays?
The Paranormal Rewinds will be this Thursday. We need to make sure we can set that up and know how to do that properly. But we'll do that, and it will be Thursday, 8 p.m. And then obviously so every Thursday at 8, we'll have something on the Get Haunted Network, whether it's the after show or a rewind. So.
And it gets high marks from Ryan Dayton of Paranormal Theory. Best show.
Some people have said it is the best show on the network.
Some say.
Some have said it. Some have said it.
We're going to start putting that like in quotes, like a critic review on our thumbnails. Best show on the Get Haunted Network.
There you
should
go.
do it. That won't piss anybody off. So
No.
Yeah,
I actually just downloaded a template onto DaVinci that does a credit style like that, where it's like, voted number 1. It just put out.
Nice.
I'm gonna do that now.
Nice.
Right. With Ryan being the one guy going out there and giving you love and shit.
Well,
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
I will say, now that we are on Paranormal Blonde, you can argue that Paranormal Blonde is the best show.
It's Paranormally.
Paranormally Blonde. Sorry,
because there is a paranormal blonde.
That's what
and
the P stands for. I'm just kidding.
So we just get it right. Paranormally blonde.
I can't read.
It's all good. But guys, thank you so much. And whatever you guys need, always let us know. We're here to help support you. And thank you for your support back to the network. It is exactly this. And this is why this works, because you guys are in here working with everybody and they love you. And thank you. Thank you for everything you do. And to everybody on the side, thank you for coming and joining in. Do you have a nut joke to take us out with, Rob?
No, but on a serious note, I do hope everybody, if you're not familiar with these boys, go out there and show some love to the nuts, because you should.
Everyone loves some nuts every once in a while.
Just got to show love to the nuts.
This is true. You do. But on the side, you know what we say. We see you. We appreciate you, and we certainly love you. Thank you for being the good of the community. Thank you for being who you are, what you do, and go out and lift somebody up in the community. Maybe it's a show, maybe it's an investigator, maybe it's a equipment maker or an author or an artist, whoever it may be. Go lift somebody up in the community. go share the love. And with that, have a great Monday. Enjoy Compass of Curiosities and Ghost Box Radio with Greg Bakken. And we'll see you Wednesday at 1, maybe. We're not sure. We'll see you Wednesday live at 1 p.m. And with that, go enjoy
we'll see where
Monday
my
night.
mom is come Wednesday, but
We'll see. We're going to all send Paulette some massive love her way. So with that, go enjoy the beginning of your week. Go out there, kill it. And you know where to find us, the Get Haunted Network. Oh, support the nuts. Thanks, Icy.
Support the nuts.
Support the nuts. Good nut support. That's what you need.
you gotta have
Like
great
strap for
nut
it.
support.